everybody, Kristin Swart here. I wanted to hop on and talk about sort of the how behind what we do when we're in session. It's not really going to be a how video, but that's the best phrasing I have for it. What we are doing when we do a brain spotting session or a parts work session, we're essentially using your own brain, your own neural network pathways, and with that, the access we have to that, we also incorporate our imagination into it. So, I might ask you a question of like, well, what do you notice? What do you notice about the anger? And you're going to have an answer pop up, maybe immediately, maybe after a minute. Could take longer than that. It varies from person to person, and it depends what we're talking about. And you might be like, oh, it's like this huge fiery red ball. Okay, great. Where's it at? And then we find out where it's at. Sometimes it's in the body and sometimes it's not. There's really no wrong answer, which is what I love about being able to use our imagination. And it works because our brains really don't know the difference between imagining doing something and us actually doing something. For example, I was reading in Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. He described how they did an experiment where they had people actually practice playing the piano, not a piano player. So you see me doing this, I'm not actually doing that. And people just imagining playing the piano. And they found that both people, when asked to perform later, performed exactly the same. So when people who just imagined it were put in front of a piano and asked to play, they could do it just as well as the people who actually played the piano and actually practiced on a piano, which I find fascinating. I've also heard about where they had an experiment, and I'm not sure on the source of this one, so forgive me. They had people picture lifting weights. They had people just lift weights, and then they had people picture lifting weights and lift weights. The people that just pictured it did just as well as the people who actually did it, and the people who did both did even better, which is amazing to me. It's the amazingness of our brains and how they work. And so when I'm talking about using our imagination, I'm talking about using us, picturing us doing this work. And sometimes people even describe it as feeling more real than the reality of the physical that's in front of us. I know that's what I have come to find in my own work. If you don't find it that way, that's okay too. But I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the imagination piece of it and picturing that. One of the things I've even used in session with people, because they'll be like, oh, I feel like I'm sick to my stomach, like I'm going to throw up. And I will throw it out to them. If they want to use it, they can. If they don't, they don't. I will tell them, hey, you can picture puking, like picture yourself throwing up, because sometimes our brains won't recognize the difference between us picturing it versus us actually doing it. And sometimes it works for people, and sometimes, depending on the kind of work we're doing, sometimes people do need to actually vomit physical stuff out. That's more if we're doing like a brain spotting kind of thing, though, because it's all connected, all of those neural network pathways. But I just find that amazing, and it was something I wanted to share with you guys. Questions, comments, please put them down below. Thank you.